Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Dr. Patience Jackson Rose, and this is Co-working Live with Red Worldwide. And we are excited that you are here with us today. Today is our day. We talk about legacy and build business, and we're going to kind of do a little around the world piece today. We'll talk about some family businesses around the world, and we're going to learn a little bit about the gross domestic product in other countries and how much of that gross domestic product is actually handled by family businesses. And so I think that it's really important for us to learn as much as we can about how to, if you're going to be a family in business, how to be a family in business, how to make it a multiple generation business, how to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to have some succession planning going on so that you can transition the business efficiently. And, how about being a model for other families that might be considering having a family business? I think it's really important for us to be able to give back in that way, to make sure that we are making an example of what we're doing. We're documenting it. We're memorializing it, making it available for others to have access to so that they will see a path, that they can traverse to make their family businesses thrive and have longevity as well. Well, with that said, we're going to start off with a video today. And Javon, I want you to roll the first video. Okay, because I want us to learn a little bit about global family businesses. So let's see what we can find out about some businesses in other places, and then we'll end with the United States.
Have you heard about family-owned businesses in Japan?
Yes, I have. They are an essential part of Japan's economy and culture.
That's right. Did you know that over 90% of businesses in Japan are family-owned?
Really? That's a significant number.
Yes, and many of these businesses have been around for generations, passing down knowledge and expertise from one family member to the next.
That's impressive. Can you give me an example of a successful family-owned business in Japan?
Sure. One example is the Matsuda family, who own and operate the Matsuda Brewery, a sake brewery that has been in business for over 200 years.
Wow, that's amazing. What makes family-owned businesses so important in Japan?
Family-owned businesses are often deeply rooted in their communities, and they prioritize long-term success over short-term gains. They also tend to have a strong sense of tradition and pride in their work, which helps to maintain high standards of quality.
I can see why they are so important. Thanks for sharing this information with me.
No problem. Family-owned businesses are an essential part of Japan's economy and culture, and it's important to recognize their contributions.
Okay, so we started off with Japan because some of you might remember, if you've been on here with us previously, we've talked a lot about the longest running family owned business is in Japan, 1,300 years. And so with that, we wanted to make sure that we kind of highlighted Japan. It didn't make it in the top 5 list as far as the gross domestic products of the country. However, it did make it in the list of the longest running family owned businesses. So this is something that I think is really important for us to note, as we're going to be looking at these other businesses, and we have another video we're going to see in a little bit, where we're going to, just kind of look at other businesses around the country and their makeup and the percentage that they actually do have in the gross domestic product of the particular country that they're hailing from. So, Javon, will you roll our slides, please? And we're going to take a look at, family businesses around the world. Okay, so as we're taking a look at this concept of, having a family business, that is a global business, or even looking at businesses in other parts of the world, we want to understand that the part that family businesses play. And so I need you to really focus in here, because one of the things that I think we don't understand about family businesses is the role that they have in the economy worldwide. They contribute a significant amount to job creation, innovation, and economic growth in all of the different countries, where we have done some research. And we are really wanting to explore the unique dynamics of family-owned businesses globally, because we talked about some of the different challenges that family-owned businesses have in America, but we didn't really kind of stretch out and look at what these businesses might be facing in other places. And so as we are taking a look at this, I want you to be thinking about the different ways in which a family owned and run business contributes, and also, how they set precedents for certain things that are done in different countries. It's really interesting to note that when I was doing my research, we found, some very interesting research with regards to how the structure of certain family businesses have been used to change things in different countries. And so the top industries for family businesses are retail and wholesale. Okay. Family businesses thrive in retail, and they often pass down expertise and strong customer relationships, to their children and their children's children, and to everyone else that's participating. So when we think about retail chains that are owned by families, they usually bear family names. Okay. And, it's very interesting. I remember JJ Newberry, which was a store that actually, when I was growing up, was, a five and dime type of store. At the time, we would go to JJ Newberry's from time to time to pick up certain things. But it was a great place. It was the culture of the store was really interesting. And, I, would love it when Mom says, okay, we're going to go to Newberry's. And I'd be like, yes, JC Penney's, okay, Montgomery Ward's. Some of you all remember those names that have been around a little while. Some of you young ones, probably know these particular types of retail chains, but you do know Macy's and Dillard's and some of these other store names that actually came from families. Okay. Now, some of them didn't remain with the family. Some of them were sold to different, outlets and be merged with other stores. But, Sears and Roebuck, I can spout off some names, and I know that you would remember those names. But think about Walmart. Okay, that's a real simple one because it's still around today. And when we're thinking about these retail and wholesale outlets, it's a good business. It really is a good business. And the industries, that these particular retail centers are in, the grocery store chains, the clothing industry, and I know of Dick's Sporting Goods, okay, Academy. Some of these other types of stores started off in a family, and some of them remain with the family today. So these are some of the top industries for family businesses, and this is worldwide. This is not just in America. Food and beverage, another high up on the list industry. Family-owned restaurants, bakeries, farms have a strong tradition of quality and local sourcing. So, I think about Tyson Chicken, and I think about, some of the really early food and beverage chains. Of course, now some of them have become franchises. But when you think about how these stores were initially, well, when I say stores, I mean, the restaurant chains and the bakery stores and even some of the farms, how they were initially created, and the family members got together and decided a lot of times that we're going to, start a business, okay? And this is what our business is going to be about. And so it wasn't really an option for a lot of the children. It was just, we're all in. It's the family business, and this is where you're going to work, okay? And at some point in time, the family's businesses changed hands. Now, as I stated, there are a lot of places in America where these food and beverage chains, they did not last out, all of the generations. Maybe they went one or two or even three generations, but a lot of times people made decisions to sell the business and do something different, but in a lot of your other, some even the developing countries and some, countries that are, quite, used to having a family run business ecosystem, it was never a thought for people to walk away from a family business or sell it, for that matter. That has been a part of their culture. And as that, is a part of the culture, then it's what everybody is, not necessarily expected to do, but it is that they plan to do for their generations. Okay. And then, of course, manufacturing and construction. That's always a good one. We see that business as a thriving business. I've talked a lot about Brookfield Asset Management, which is actually operating as a business trust. But I've talked about some other, manufacturing and construction businesses that and continue to be run by families. When we were doing some government contracting alongside of one of our partners, we were having to source some of our work, the subs that we needed to use. And it was quite interesting that on our list, we had probably, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 family owned businesses. And it was hard to, just make some decisions sometimes between them, because some of them were so excellent and they were literally, side by side. If I did a side by side comparison, the price points were almost the same, and the level of business that we could do with them was the same in terms of the resources that they had, for what we needed done, and the excellence that they operated in was the same. Father, son, grandson sometimes, or, the whole family working in the business is just an amazing thing to see. And so a lot of your very successful manufacturing and construction companies are, have generations of experience. And we see this, like I talked about the global company, Brookfield Asset Management, we see it across the world. Okay. So, when we're looking at some of the unique characteristics of family businesses, and this is global, this is not just in America, this is the global look that we're taking. The shared vision and values, pop up again, because people who go into business as a family, they have a strong sense of purpose and direction. They usually have an end game, and they're all focused on what it is that we're going to do with the funds, what it is that we're going to make this business do. A lot of the times, what I've been seeing is that family businesses are not as quick to want to take the business public. I see sometimes that people do it, but it's not usually something that is, it doesn't show up, in my research as being one of the top 10 things a family business will do, a global family business will do. It's just not there, so the vision and the values, that they have as a family are things that, actually are embedded into their culture, and they're driven by it. And I think that it's really important when you're looking at setting your family's business in place, that you are sharing amongst all of those who are participating, what the vision is and what our values are, so that everyone can adapt, to what that is if they don't already ascribe to it, or they can help to support it if they're already there. And then, of course, they have a long-term perspective. They're looking at that end game. Okay. They often prioritize the long-term growth and sustainability over short-term goals. And that's always a very good strategy in business, period, but especially if you're in a family business. Then there's a strong work ethic. Family members are often deeply invested in the success of the business, and that leads to a strong work ethic. You see people in family businesses, sometimes we can't knock off, you know, when I say knock off, in other words, we can't finish the day, okay, unless we're finishing the day together. You know, you will often see people not wanting to leave, you know, mom or dad at the office working until midnight. You know, we'll stay. What can we do? How can we help so that we can make sure that we spread this, you know, workload across the team and we can get it done faster so we can all go home and eat dinner together, you know, and we see that, you know, in some of the very successful businesses, that, you know, there is this sense of, you know, we have a strong work ethic, but we are doing this together. I know my husband and I, we run a couple of companies and ministry. We are, you know, very centered on making sure that if one has a workload that needs to be done today and the other one has finished what they're doing, you know, we're not going to let that person either he's not going to let me do it and I'm not going to let him do it, you know, stay up until 2 a.m. while the other one goes and gets in the bed. It's not happening. You know, unless it's a situation where, you know, one of us has a really early call, you know, but for the most part, you know, it's like, okay, if this is going to be a time that we burn the midnight oil, you know, then we're burning the midnight oil together. And so, you know, in the early stages of a business, that sometimes is called for until you have enough people to spread the work, and then you can get yourselves, you know, definitely out of the owner's trap, but also in a better position where, you know, there's more balance in your time frames of when something needs to be done. Okay, and then personal relationships. The relationships between family members can be a strength to the business, you know, but it also can be a challenge, you know, in managing the business if those relationships, you know, are not you know, in check. And so sometimes we have to make sure that if we are going to be in business as a family, we can have a way of mitigating our issues and managing, you know, expectations, making sure that everyone is on the same page and that there's no one who's out of communication, you know, and feeling some kind of way because they didn't get the memo. Okay. You want to make sure that you don't have that as an issue in a family business. So let's look at some challenges that globally businesses face. Okay, let's kind of look at what some of the issues are. Well, one of the issues is succession planning, and we've talked about succession planning a lot. We've given out some good wisdom as to how succession plans can be done. We've actually done some hands-on sessions with regards to succession planning. And so we've got to make mention of it again here because this is still a challenge. And one of the things as we were doing the research about what, you know, global businesses are facing, and top global businesses are facing it, just like some of those who are just really, you know, getting in business. Transitioning the leadership is just really a challenge, you know, going from one generation to the next. It's complex and it can be fraught with challenges. And so, you know, one of the things that we have to be thinking about is if we are doing the work to plan the succession from the very beginning, training our replacements, you know, treating people with respect and regard, you know, honoring them for their input. I mean, all of the things necessary so that the next level of leaders in the company they have the different aspect of what needs to be done because of the fact that they have been, you know, celebrated and upgraded in their skill set. All the things have gone into making them who they need to be so the company can function well. Okay. And then, you know, dealing with family conflicts head on, not, you know, just kind of sweeping them under the rug or tripping over the rug and knowing that that stuff is there. That's going to really be important because when you have family conflicts, it can lead to tension and it can cause, you know, rifts, and people, you know, can walk away from the business and not really be in communication with the family forever. And so you want to make sure that you understand that the value of your family member is above the value of the business. And so having the relationships intact and really learning how to manage things well when there's a conflict is going to be important. And then balancing business and family. This is another issue that we see globally. I mean, there are some places where people are working 80, 90 hours a week. You know, family members are in there together, but they're all working these crazy hours and they don't have the balance that family life needs to have when you are in business. You know, family owned companies are already going to be difficult for, you know, some sets of reasons, you know, just because there's so much proximity, everybody's close together and in this, you know, little bubble sometimes. But the bottom line is that you have to also have balance, because if you don't, there might be resentment and other types of issues that crop up just because, you know, you are a family in business. And so we need to make sure that, you know, those things are taken care of. And then, of course, economic volatility comes into play here, because family in, you know, businesses are often vulnerable to economic downturns and global market fluctuations, just like every other business, but sometimes at a greater degree based on, you know, some things that are just inherent to being a family in business. So what are some of the strategies for success in family business? You know, what types of things can we, you know, put in place? Well, you know, let's look at, you know, we can have clear communication. Open and transparent communication among family members is essential. We got to be able to build trust, and we got to be able to understand each other and really do the things necessary so that, you know, everybody wins. Okay. Everybody feels like they are successful, you know, in the business, and that, you know, everyone sees their place and they are valued, you know, for who they are and what they contribute. And then, of course, there needs to be professional management. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this in America, and I don't know if it exists in other places, but, you know, having someone in a position just because they're in the family is not probably the best scenario. You have to be able to hire professional managers with expertise. And if you don't have someone in your family that has that skill set, hire that person in. Okay. Because the bottom line is you all are owning this company together, and you want the company to be able to put its best foot forward. And so having the ability to have someone with the relevant expertise, you know, can ensure smooth operations for the business and make sure that the business is profitable. And then having the family governance is going to be important. I mean, we need to understand that a family that's running a company needs to actually have some meetings. Okay. They need to, the board needs to be functioning. I mean, a functioning board, not just a board that gets a notice about what's happening, but they need to be involved in some way. And having guidelines and structures and policies and procedures are important, you know, when family members are all working together, so that the conflicts can be minimized and the strengths can be, you know, really used to the best of the ability that exists. Okay. And then, of course, having some strategic planning. Okay. Developing comprehensive business plans and setting clear goals, you know, for the future. It's going to be crucial if the business is going to be around and be successful. Now, I want us to watch this other video that I have that's going to talk a little bit about, you know, the businesses around the world, the top, you know, 5 countries that have family run businesses, and what the contribution that these family businesses are making in these countries. So let's take a look and see what that is.
The unsung heroes of economies around the world. You know, when we think about big corporations, we often picture faceless entities, but many of these giants have family roots that stretch back generations. It's fascinating how family businesses weave into the fabric of national economies, shaping communities and driving innovation. Take India, for example. Family businesses contribute a staggering 79% of the country's GDP. That's not just a number. It's a testament to the entrepreneurial spirit that runs deep in Indian culture. Think about Reliance Industries, one of the largest conglomerates in India, founded by the Ambani family. Their story isn't just about business. It's about legacy, resilience, and the power of family ties. The Ambanis have built an empire, but at the heart of it, there's a family narrative that resonates with so many. Now let's hop over to Spain and Mexico, where family businesses account for 70% of GDP. That's right, 70%. These businesses aren't just economic engines. They're the backbone of local communities. Imagine bustling markets, family-owned restaurants, and artisanal shops that have been passed down through generations. Each one tells a story of hard work, dedication, and a commitment to preserving traditions while adapting to modern challenges. Together, they contribute over $1 trillion annually to their economies. That's a huge impact, and it's all rooted in family values. Italy, with its rich history and culture, isn't far behind. Family businesses make up 68% of its GDP. Think about the classic Italian brands we love, whether it's fashion, food, or automotive. These businesses are often family-run, embodying a passion for quality and craftsmanship that's hard to replicate. The Italian way of doing business is deeply intertwined with family, where every dish served in a trattoria or every piece of clothing designed carries a piece of that family's heart and heritage. Then, we have the United Kingdom and Portugal, both contributing 67% of their GDP through family businesses. Isn't it remarkable how these enterprises can thrive in different cultural contexts, yet share the same foundational values? They create jobs, foster innovation, and keep money circulating within local economies. Whether it's a family-owned pub in London or a vineyard in the Douro Valley, each business plays a crucial role in community life. Moving on to Canada, family businesses contribute 60% of the GDP. Canadians are known for their strong sense of community, and family businesses reflect that spirit. They're often the ones sponsoring local events, supporting schools, and giving back to the community. It's not just about profit. It's about people, relationships, and making a positive impact. Now let's not forget the United States. While family businesses account for 54% of GDP, that's still a significant contribution when you consider the sheer size of the US economy. Look at Walmart and Berkshire Hathaway, two colossal enterprises with family roots that have shaped entire industries. These businesses show us that family values can scale to incredible heights, proving that the heart of a family can drive monumental success. Ultimately, family businesses are more than just contributors to GDP. They're vital components of our global economy. They create jobs, inspire entrepreneurship, and foster community ties. In a world that often feels disconnected, these businesses remind us of the importance of relationships, heritage, and legacy. So the next time you support a local family-run shop or eat at a family-owned restaurant, remember that you're not just enjoying a product or service. You're investing in a story, a tradition, and a future. Family businesses are indeed the heart and soul of economies everywhere, and their impact is felt far beyond the balance sheets.
As we are thinking about the impact of families, and even, as our narrator was stating, that it goes far beyond the balance sheet, I want us to kind of look at our last slide, the role of family values and culture, because that part is something that we cannot replace with just something off the shelf or some kind of a can situation. This is a situation, no situation. Situation. This is something that, we have to understand that exists in every business, but more so for family businesses now than ever, that we have to have integrity. We've got to be able to prioritize our ethical conduct and our strong commitment to integrity. This is something that is a non-negotiable. When a family business is run in a way where integrity is at the center, it's one of the core values, then everything is impacted. Their bottom line is impacted. The turnover rate among staff is impacted. The ability for there to be someone to pass the company down to is impacted. I can't tell you in my research how many times I ran across something where, companies had a lot of drama. Okay. Kids walked off, decided they weren't going to be a part, because they didn't like something that had been said or done, or for that matter, parents decided that they were just going to flat sell the business to someone else outside of the family because they didn't necessarily like how their children were running things, or, they just didn't like the fact that they weren't as vested as them. It could be a lot of things. And so having integrity show up as a core value positions you differently in a family business, because now you are having conversations about what is right. Okay. And us doing things that are right over doing things that are efficient or doing things that are, profitable. Okay. And so this is a very big deal amongst family businesses. Another thing is the hard work and dedication, the ethics that we talked about. Having that as a part of a core value in the family's business is a huge level of commitment here. And then, of course, the community involvement, being able to show, your family's roots, in the community is going to be big, because if you are generation after generation after generation, in a particular community, and the level of integrity is the same, the level of service is the same, the way that your company actually shows up, in the industry is different. You are going to have the numbers that you need to have to keep your family's business profitable, and you're going to have that customer lifetime value. Now, these are some of the lessons that we learned, from thriving family businesses globally. So I want us to just kind of take a look at some of these things, because I think it's going to be, ultimately important for you to take away, these thoughts. So the first thing is, a thriving business often is highly adaptable, to changing market, conditions. You see thriving businesses, family businesses that thrive are, just are not going to, be a business that's going to have to shut its doors just because something changed, in the market. They have the ability to pivot. A lot of times they have some brilliant minds, that are all, focused on, making sure the business stays around. And so for that reason, they're going to be all in if the market conditions change, usually. Then you have innovation. The family businesses embrace new ideas and technologies to stay ahead of the competition. You see, a lot of things being done in a family business to make sure that we know what's new, what the trends are, what our competitors are doing, what we can now do, to make sure that we're maintaining the market share. And then, of course, customer-centric focus is going to be really important. Family business are often built, upon the ability for them to have empathy and these strong relationships with their customers and clients, prioritizing the customer's needs. And lastly, talent development, investing in and training and developing out the next level of leaders is going to be key when you have a family business. You got to make sure that you're pouring in so that the family members, will be able to give back what it is that you gave them. Okay. So, doing things that are necessary to make sure that everyone is being properly trained, or for that matter, they have the right amount of schooling or, certifications or whatever it is that's needed, so that the next generation of leaders, that future, group, whoever they are well equipped to take the family business, to the next level. Well, with that, I would love to be able to say to you that I am excited about, training some family businesses. And so, this is a time where if you're watching this, I would say you want to go ahead and make an appointment. Go to, www.scheduleme.red. Again, that's www.scheduleme.red, and schedule a free or complimentary. We call it complimentary, not necessarily free, but it's free to you. Okay. Somebody's paying for it, but it's free to you. A free consultation, to learn more about what you can do if you already have a family business to make sure the family business is functioning effectively, or if you're thinking of starting a family business and you want to have legacy built in your family, come and have an appointment, and learn a little bit about what you can do to create the business that will thrive, okay, beyond you. This is a really important thing, that you can do for your family and for your generations coming after you. Well, this has been Dr. Patience Jackson Rose with Co-working Live with Red Worldwide, and we have been excited to share this with you today, and we will see you again next time.